What happened? Hold on, guys.
They just wanna, girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have, that's all they really want. Some fun when the working day is done. Girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have.
Whoops.
Fun.
Do you hate this one or do you like this one?
No, I like it. Well, I don't like the ending very much. Do we get to finish that out, or do I have to sing it every time?
It was a fade out, ma'am. I could take it off.
No, it's fine. It's great. I love it.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for coming. Who's here? It's all the regs. It's all our
So I
regulars.
like all the regs. That's the
I
people I
know.
haven't blocked. I love it. It's fantastic.
Weirdos. We're good to go. Doing good, guys.
Way to make it through the next bracket of blocking.
We spent the whole show arguing.
Congratulations.
All right. You want to kick this off? This whole thing is going to be about how toxic Pribs is. I mean, let's just be honest.
Ready.
All right, let me go get my whiteboard. Hold on.
RIBS.
Oh, so anyway, the podcast topic is obviously, are you toxic? And the reason it's asking if you're toxic is because we are not going to talk about all the normal stuff. Everyone throws around the word narcissist nowadays, all the normal, nasty, obvious toxicity. There's also like vanilla toxic, like the passive aggressive toxic, all the different types of like mellow toxic that like people get away with because they're like a nice person, or maybe it's not as like direct as someone insulting you or putting you down. So I kind of wanted to go through those. Does that sound good?
Yeah. I mean, this is your show. I'm not even allowed to be here.
Oh yeah, you're not even allowed to talk.
No, you just can't talk.
You're already breaking rules.
I already wrecked it.
And we also have to like say, we're not advocates, experts, and we're just a bunch of random people talking about this stuff.
I'm a Google expert.
Take what you will from it.
I
it's
couldn't even get my webcam to work, so
Yeah.
I don't really know that I take my advice on anything.
Oh, all right. I'm going to read you guys stuff to kind of lead into this. So every day you gather evidence, make choices that strengthen what you already believe in through confirmation bias. Your brain will naturally make every effort to have your external circumstances match your internal beliefs because it's safe and predictable. This means that you're wired to stay consistent with who you think you are. And when you use labels like I'm a procrastinator, I'm an overthinker, I'm not creative, I am, your brain will naturally find evidence for it, and it will use that same evidence to reinforce the reality. You probably see where I'm going with this. It feels like the truth, but it's actually just your perceived reality. This is where your power lies. You can change your perceived reality. Your brain will create what you tell it. Transformations come through reframing your internal beliefs while actively finding and creating external evidence to support them so that eventually your brain can naturally support this new reality. So a lot of people get stuck in what they think like their perceived reality is of themselves, and they're not always aware of like the toxic behavior they put out. So what I'm basically saying is like, you're not a bad person, you just have some toxic traits that can be harming others.
Sometimes you're a bad person.
Does that make sense?
Does.
It's like all the passive aggressive stuff. I'll give you a perfect example. A time bully. You ever heard that term?
A time bully?
Yeah. I just heard it on TikTok the other day. So you know how I am a stickler for time. You
Me
are
too.
too. Okay. I have it written in my policies at work. Everyone signs off on it. Once you're 10 minutes late, that's a no-show because I got to cap it somewhere. And honest to God, by the time I call you at 10 minutes, it's going to take you another 15 freaking minutes to get there. And now we're like super behind. So my clients, I might have a client who's super, super nice and sweet and fun. And I love them and I love their dog, but they're consistently 15 minutes late. And I let them get away with it because they're nice and they're fun and I like their dog and I like them. But they're bullying my time. And that's disrespectful. Do you get that?
I do. Now, then on the devil's advocate side of that, maybe they are quote unquote time blind. So then
That is not a thing, and I will die on that hill.
I know. I'm just saying that there are people who are chronically late. It is not that they aren't necessarily. I have the same thing. I have some clients that I adore and they're wonderful, but I know we're going to be starting 15 minutes late every single time. Like, I don't even need to be here because I know they're not showing up for 10 to 20 minutes. So, and it's like they are aware of it and they're remorseful. Behavior
Are they?
doesn't change.
Are they? Because they keep doing it.
I don't know. This is where this is where my
that's-
toxicity comes in because I
Yeah.
perpetually want to see the good in people. I don't ever want to see them as being shitheads.
It's called enabling.
No,
Angie,
no, because this is
Tacos,
it gets
I'm already
too sick
doing
and
it.
gritty already.
Tacos,
Yeah.
if you have a staff member who is consistently 15 minutes late, is that you? Are you going to change the whole work schedule now to just expect for that person to be late and you've just molded everything
No.
else around that person? No, so why
not?
should you do ribs?
I just fired someone the other day because they're constantly late.
I can't fire them. They pay my bills.
I'm not saying to fire them.
I know. I'm just saying. It works for me. If you're constantly late,
Do you understand where there's a double standard? So in her point of view, being a boss with staff, that would be incredibly disrespectful. Not saying fire them. I mean, she probably should if someone's doing that. But for you,
definitely.
you allow it because it's a client and you expect the behavior, so you allow the behavior.
Yeah, because I genuinely expect everybody to be a good person. This has been my problem, not just in real life, online, everywhere. I just expect everybody to not be a shit.
Well,
That's
they
hard.
are, and they're gonna do it, and they're gonna keep doing it. So we
Yeah.
should probably talk about people pleasers then.
That's not me.
No, not at
Not
all.
me either.
Yeah, okay, I have to stop calling you your name. I'm so sorry.
I already did it too.
You're fine.
Maybe just
Okay,
call me
cool.
Ginger on here because I can't. Like, everybody we're done with that.
There's actually like a picture of you on this thing I have saved under the definition of people pleaser, Cribs. So it says a people pleaser is someone who consistently tries to please others, often at the expense of their own needs and desires. People pleasers are often seen as kind, helpful, agreeable, and may be willing to go above and beyond to make others feel good. However, they may also have trouble advocating for themselves, may neglect their own needs in fear of disappointing others. This can lead to a harmful pattern.
Why are you laughing? What a dickhead.
Because I paused and looked at you. Self-sacrifice or self-neglect and people pleasers may commonly feel burned out and resentful.
Okay, well, but like I do advocate for myself. I mean, I do stand up for. I mean, I'm gonna go talk to them about the thermostat. So like, I also did let it go on for a month and a half. So whatever, it's fine.
Just roasted a couple of days. It's okay.
Yeah.
During my open house for all my clients. No, it absolutely is me. And this is how you're talking
I have
about.
people pleasing tendencies too.
Well, this is how your whole thing where you just started, where you were just talking about basically the general idea of like manifest destiny, where you are what you put out, you're making yourself into something, right? That is what I expect of myself. I expect myself to try to make others around me happy.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
And Evelyn, if you can tell me how to become a recovering people pleaser, I'd really like to know how to do that.
You have your moments.
Well, that's just me being a bitch. That's not the same thing.
I don't know why you
think
struggle
so.
so hard. Your delivery. Okay, for example, when I text you an issue with a client and you know what I want to say, but it comes off too like straightforward and dicky, and I have to have you ginger it up. You're good at that, so I don't know why you have a hard time like communicating a boundary sometimes.
I think it's probably more of a problem in person. I don't know if you have the same problem, Tacos, but like
Yeah.
I can do it. I'm very diplomatic in writing,
You are.
which has gotten me in trouble before too, because people think I sound like I'm better than everybody else just by the way that I write. Was just diplomacy. And I think it's when I'm looking in the whites of their eyes, and that's when I'm like, okay.
I just black out at that point, and it's just things come out of my mouth, and then it's just over.
I wish.
We've unleashed the demons, and then we're just let it go.
They're late again.
Yeah. I've dealt with it since I was a kid because I was the oldest. So I was put in the second mommy role. So I'd take care of my younger siblings, and a lot was put on me. And I was raised by my dad and my stepmom, and she was very controlling, and I had to do it this way, and I had to talk this way, I had to look this way, I had to present myself this way. So I never was able to express myself, and I felt like something was wrong with me. So I felt she knew better as the parent, and that really messed me up.
Sorry.
And I just carried that on through life, and so I haven't had a lot of relationships for that reason either, because I felt like I didn't deserve to have one. And I ended, the guys that I did date were, which I found out in therapy, were just like my stepmoms. The therapist told me, she's like, so you married your stepmom? I'm like,
Well, that's a mind
But-
fuck.
yeah.
It does carry on though. I was raised very similar, and that's why I'm like a perfectionist, because nothing was ever good enough. It's wild how that stuff like molds you as an adult.
Yeah.
Mine just happens to make me like really productive.
Very true.
That's why I'm good at boys. Because
Yes, you
I
are.
don't want to disappoint anybody, and I'm going to do it the way they want it done. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to fight you on how you want your business run. I'm just going to run it the way you want to run it.
Yep. I'm the
I think that
same
is
way.
acting based. I can be whatever it is you want me to be. I'm really good at being whatever the situation calls for,
Absolutely.
which probably is not super helpful for me as a person, because then people can never tell who I really am. But I can mold. I have no problem with that, and that's probably why I please so much. Because what do you want? I can be that. You want that? I can be that.
There's a time
Yeah.
and place for it, I think.
Yeah, but when you spend the majority of your life being that, it's that just does not turn off very easily.
Well, and we're all in the service industry, so for careers to like
Mhm.
serve people. The next one I wanted to cover was pushover. So it's a person who's easily to overcome or influence. And why that's toxic is because it's toxic to yourself. It's toxic to allow it to happen to you. And I know that's easier said than done, but people acknowledge that they're a pushover and then consistently allow the behavior. And then they complain about the exhaustion and the impact that it has on them, which in itself makes it toxic on whoever they're dumping that on.
Mm-hmm. Can I answer that thing from Jess? Is that okay?
Yeah, I wasn't reading.
Do you ever get sick? Ginger, do you ever get sick of doing that? Yeah, I do, because I feel like it's very rare that people know the actual person that I am, because I am consistently changing in order, not like in a way where I'm a fake ass human being, but I know I can read people really well, and I can tell what they want from me, and I can give that to them. So it gets exhausting in that my social battery, and the older I get, my social battery just, when it's dead, it's dead. And I can't, it's no coming back from that. So I've given people literally everything I can give them.
But you're good at boundaries in person. Like since I've met you, I think every trip I've been on with you, if I can recall even our first one, you disappear for a bit and you make it known ahead of time. You don't just dip. You make it known that like when you're done, you take a break, and you may or may not come back. And that's like always been
In the Dells. Bye.
Once 8 p.m. hits, I might disappear and not come back.
Yeah. Well, that's like that. My sister got married in Arizona last May, and we rented an Airbnb, and I would disappear
Yeah. It's my
at
favorite.
the end of the night. Then they'd all creep into my room. What are you doing? My uncle was like, you better be swiping right. Or left, whichever it is.
When I'm
They're determined.
expired, I'm expired. It's time.
Yeah.
time to move on. done.
Yep.
But yeah, the people pleasers can also be like trauma dumpers too, because they people please so much and then they regurgitate, because that all that weight's got to sit somewhere, and then they have to put it all somewhere. So then, like, people who
Nope, I
trauma
just hold on to it.
constant like Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, like every time you talk to them, it's, hey, how are you? And you get like this 15-minute just dump session, and then at the end of it, there's no, how are you doing? I mean, I'm sure we all know people like that. I feel like people get away with doing that behavior, even though it's incredibly toxic. So at the end of the day, I'm exhausted by the time that phone call or conversation or whatever is over. And you don't even ever know what to say at the end of it, because they dump so much on you.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of my job, is being trauma dumped on, is that I have it, and I don't mind it, but it does. I mean, I don't come home and like dump it all over, but it definitely, being a people pleaser in general allows people to trauma dump on you, which is, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. It's a double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, my mom's like a huge trauma dumper. She'll never ask how anyone's doing, but she will go to whoever will open an ear, and she will just vomit all the negative, just the world.
And then it's the last minute of, how are you doing? But they're not actually asking you. They just know they have to say something to not acknowledge
she
that you're
doesn't even
human.
ask. She doesn't even ask. Too far
Well, that's,
gone. She doesn't pretend.
we'll just skip a step. It's fine.
How my stepmom was.
Yeah,
I don't really talk to my stepmom anymore, but that's how it is. Like, if you went to her with a problem, all of a sudden you're an hour on the phone listening to her. Like, cool. Like, when I was going through my divorce, she never called me. She never reached out. So I finally went over there. She's like, oh, I would have reached out, but I figured if you needed me, you would call me. I'm going through a fucking divorce. You went through a divorce. Like, you should know.
Or they'll flip it. Like, you'll call with like a genuine problem and need advice or something, and they'll somehow turn it into their problem and talk about something that they struggle with. And you're like, what the
It's a one-upper. I love one-uppers. They're my favorite.
Yeah. I can't stand a one-upper.
Oh.
I will say some off-the-wall shit just to make a one-upper stop one-upping.
It's like the Kristen Wiig on SNL. Yeah, so my dad turned into a chocolate chip, and my dad was a chocolate chip, and then I ate him.
I can't. I have no tolerance for it. I have a low bullshit meter.
No, really?
That's one of the ones that like irks me. I call it being tapped out of dealing with others. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look at you highlighting a comment, you little rock star, doing all the things.
You loser. Shut up. Oh, hold on. I have other stuff in here.
I mean, was that it? We still got 40 minutes to fill.
We got 40 minutes.
Oh, God, you can thank you for
singing on my phone.
We already kind of like, I feel like trauma dumpers are really like the same as energy vampires, which they'll either use you, like they'll either trauma dump all over you and like use that, or like they'll razz you up to like consume your good vibes, and like you're not getting anything out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't even think that necessarily has to be a verbal thing. It's going to sound weird, but like when you can just sort of like tap into people and you can just sort of feel people, and like, I'm good at people.
Yeah.
When they're just there and they're just, and then eventually you just get sucked right down into the toilet hole that they're in, not even by them doing anything, but simply from the energy that they're displacing.
Yep. You can feel it. But a lot of people, I think, don't realize that they're energy vampires. Like, I have an elderly client. She's adorable, but like, she will bog me down. I could be having the best day ever. I won't be after I talk to her, because I'll hear about every little medical problem and every little thing that's gone wrong in her day or last week or since I last seen her. And by the time she's done talking, half her appointment time's gone. I haven't started her dog yet. And I'm over here like, I don't even know what just happened.
Right.
That I can't, it drains me. But I don't think she has any idea. She's like this sweet, teeny tiny little lady that, like, you know, almost drives into 7-Elevens and shit.
Did you love that I couldn't see what was happening in the chat, so I had to get really
Yes.
close?
I know, like, what's going
When you see me do that, you guys, I can't read what's happening in the chat.
I told Barty that this one applies for her. It says this quote nailed it. You attract damaged people because your energy is authentically rare but very healing. People end up coming back because they want more access to it, and that's why you must value your time and your energy immensely. Stop being the jumper cables to people who have the energy of a dead car battery. They will literally drain you.
And you know, it's funny for like the people who haven't met Barty in real life. I mean, you get like her vibe on TikTok, but you don't get the purity that is Barty until you're with her in real life, because there is no one more authentic than that woman.
People are drawn to her for a reason.
She is just absolutely pure.
She's gonna be like, "Stop talking about me."
Love you, Barty.
It's true though. Like, how many psychopaths have been psychopaths over her?
That's
Like,
I will go to the mattresses for Barty over pretty much anybody, because that is a soul that I will not allow the world to crush.
same, and everyone knows it now.
Mm-hmm.
Heroes. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes the reason is you're stupid and you make bad decisions.
Okay, you and I have the same thought on this. Tacos, I want to know your thought on this. My thought is that everybody is literally responsible for their outcomes. Like I have probably zero sympathy for people, period. Empathy, I've gotten spades. I can see where you're coming from on things. Do I feel bad for
Right.
you? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
What are your
I
thoughts?
think you are. I agree with you. I think everybody is responsible for their own outcome. You know, it's just like, because I did used to blame my upbringing for who I was, and what I put out there. And eventually I had to get past that and realize I'm still letting them control my life. I'm still letting what they did control my life. And I had to look at them in a different perspective, as, you know, they might be hurting too, or shit they went through in their childhoods. Still hard sometimes.
It's not
You
our
know,
cross
but-
to bear, though.
What's that?
It's not our cross to bear, though.
No, I know, but that,
Carry it all
People
because
pleaser.
they do.
it's my problem.
Yep.
I just
But
refuse.
no,
I watch both my parents carry it around. And they have no clue that they carry it around. They're both
I
completely
think
oblivious
that's,
to it. Yeah. And it bothers
that's
them
mine
that
too.
I'm so self-aware, and because they don't like to talk about it. We sweep all that stuff under the rug. And I'm the
So
one
weird.
that's like, I got like alarms flying and flags, and I'm like, we're gonna talk about it. And no one wants to talk about it.
No. Sorry, I was such a horrible mother.
Yeah.
That's what I always get.
Yeah. I'll get the guilt trip too. So I just don't engage anymore.
Yeah.
What? 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 What's
What's happening in the chat?
I'm not watching it, but apparently I should be. What's going on in there? Who's in there?
That escalated quickly, right?
No one has to clap. Okay, that's good.
Who would say something like that? That's so not okay. How
Well,
toxic.
I'm scrolling up.
How
I see who did.
toxic.
Oh, they're talking about crap facts. Okay, I see where this came full circle. Okay, it all makes sense now. I had to scroll up in the chat.
I'll be here all night.
Oh, the Lysol cap there. She is a bully.
Oh,
Shame
but
on
I'm the
me.
best
Wait,
kind of
why am
bully.
I in trouble now? I'm still confused. What did
I don't know
do?
what you did.
Who are we talking about?
I'm the one that said Barty had the clap.
Am I getting blamed for saying I'm not even in the chat? Yes, she is a bad influence.
So good.
What's happening? Oh my God.
I'm having a good time.
We are
It's
all
all
toxic,
nice.
just so everyone's clear. Like, there's no, like, not it. Like, we all have the tendencies. It's just a matter of, like, self-awareness that you have. Like, I know I can be a dumper sometimes. I try to, like, reel that in. Sometimes I have to dump, and because I'm gonna go crazy, but I have to know who my dumping people are.
Yeah.
Like Michelle,
true.
for example, we've established that we are the word vomit friends. It is okay to just unload, and no one's gonna be like, that's too much. And then
Yeah.
it's good to know who those people are. Mute button activated. I should mute this whole
I
chat.
mean, do it. I'll just stand up and walk away. Good luck, bitches.
I thought you said you'd go live.
I would too, but I would leave and go live and not come back here.
I would just go to your comments section and just talk shit about you relentlessly.
Just we're not going to diagnose people on.
Yes,
on
I'm sorry,
here. That is a
along
really
with
quick
not
way
being
to
professional
lose
advocates,
people.
We're also not doctors. We're not anything. We're just a bunch of toxic people talking about toxic personalities
Mm-hmm. Takes one to know one.
and how to try to be a little less toxic, be a little mindful of your own bullshit. That's all. That's all. And then there's also like the whole self-control aspect of being toxic. Like, you can scream about someone else being toxic to the point where like you're toxic. It's like
Absolutely.
you won't
Yeah.
let it go. You know? And sometimes you have to learn to just be okay with like people talking. Because there has to be like a line in the sand drawn at some point where we're just not going to tolerate behavior, right? And
Yep.
you're not going to win that trying to have the last word. We already know that because there's been a pattern established, a toxic
Mhm.
pattern of
Right.
behavior.
And see, there's the problem because you see that a lot of that, but when your toxic problem is your ego and
Yeah.
your and honestly, my narcissism, I hate that word, but like I know I have an ego and I know
We
that
all
I have
have
it. That's what I have to
narcissism.
keep in check at all times.
Yeah. It's
Because
the
if I like,
self-awareness.
if you guys think it's bad, right? This is me keeping it in check. So like, let's just realize that if I didn't do that, where we would be. You wouldn't even be able to see the sun.
I think everyone's already seen my spectrum, so I'm under control right now as well.
The problem is that especially online, people like to see that unleashing. I think it then I think it allows them to feel justified in how they feel about certain things and how they react to certain
Yeah.
things. But there is a definite want and a desire to see
For
people
sure.
unleash. People
Well,
love it when I unleash on people.
Yeah.
People love it
Uh-huh.
when you unleash on people.
Well, I got a whole nickname for it, and then I got to a point where like I didn't like seeing that anymore. I didn't like seeing people being like, "Ooh," like we joke about it now in comment sections and stuff, but like back then, people would be like, "Where's spicy pickle? Spicy pickle." I'm like, there was a time where I entertained that, but I was also like not okay. Like I had a whole
Right.
lot of other things going on, and that was kind of like manifesting out. And I'm adult enough to like come out here and say that. That doesn't. I'm not getting into like specifics of anything, but like generally, yeah. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do that. I also like people have to realize like you can get humbled real quick depending on like the situation. Like I had liberal moms taking my TikTok content and like putting it on a Twitter page called Illinois School Watch. Your content hits different when it's put somewhere else. You don't feel so cool anymore when it's being put in a different context, you know?
It's weird because a lot of us, generally speaking, if we find somebody on TikTok that we know in real life, we're like, block. So then if you are immediately like, blocking, then what are you really putting out there that you don't want people to see? Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like for me, TikTok is where I'm able to actually have like my political beliefs because I can't really bring that into my salon. I mean, with the right people, I do, but like, but this is where I can put it. But I know for sure when they're like people you might know, I'm like, nope.
Yep.
Right.
I've always been that way with TikTok. I've always blocked
So have I.
People I knew. Obviously, I didn't know all those psychopaths were watching my page. And thank God I had no intention of actually running for school board because they were ready. They had it all saved. All my funny little content I did on TikTok making fun of people, they had it all ready to roll. And they were like ready to roll it. They were pissed when they found out I wasn't one of the slate members. But I knew that. I knew that was a possibility by putting that out there. And I just thank God I didn't have any intention of running because that would have been they would have run me over.
That's very true, sweet lady, is because I do have very few people that I will allow on here, and you're one of them.
I have yes. Just a couple. Everyone else gets blocked.
Yeah.
And
Can
I don't
take
turn
down
on
the bad influence? Just keep that up there and it's perpetually pinned.
something else. Hold on. There. No, family. Yeah. They all get blocked. I don't talk to anyone in my family though, so that would be weird if they were like engaging with me.
My husband likes to send my TikToks to his family and they really like them. So I mean it's when it's not about people that they don't have never seen before.
When I was really doing like the political stuff, I had clients come in every once in a while and they would drop something. Like I had a client come in and she's like, "Where's your hoodie?" And I was like, "What hoodie?" And she was like, "The I'm from a blue state hoodie." I used to wear an I'm from a blue state hoodie and it was like all red counties and it was like Cook County was blue. It was in like all my TikToks and that's what she was referencing. I didn't even know she followed me. I was horrified. She turned out to be a super cool client, but I was like, "Oh God, you watch me on the air? No." And I'll block them if I see them.
Same.
I'm pulling up more stuff. Oh, this is a good one. You will stop hanging out with certain people when you heal parts of yourself that once needed them.
Ouch.
I mean, it doesn't have to be ouch because they say that people are in your life for seasons.
No, for me, it's still an ouch. I think that's great that you guys feel that way, but I'm be totally honest. That's
I used to feel that way. That it was an ouch, but
yeah, still an ouch. Always an ouch.
Like,
maybe that. I'm like, whatever.
That's my ego, but that's my ego. So, and
Yeah,
I know that that's
no.
funny.
Yeah, for sure.
but can you take comfort in knowing if maybe you were in someone's life for a short period of time that maybe you did some good and had a good impact and made their life better?
That would be really nice. That in theory that would be nice.
Not me.
No, I don't know how to put into words what I'm thinking. So you two talk amongst yourselves.
Super helpful. I don't think it always has to be a bad thing because you could meet a complete stranger and only know them very briefly. Maybe there was a car accident and they saved your life and then you never saw them again. They're in your life for a season, but for a good freaking reason. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. Your brain went right to like I've been cut off.
It's like it's just that's a grasping. Like I just feel like we're just reaching now.
No, I'm just thinking about it more generally than you are.
No, I think it's because I do. I take a lot. I mean, you try not to, but I do. People pleaser and ego. I take things very personally. I always do, and I always will.
So I'm not allowed to be in your life for a season?
I mean, if you're not, then I go, ouch.
That hurt.
That hurt. Just like everybody else that I lose. That ouch, that hurt.
Okay, well, how about this? Crazy how peaceful life becomes when you realize it's not your responsibility to regulate other people's emotions, manage their insecurities, pacify their inner wars, heal their wounds, do their inner work, and be the version of you in their minds.
Yeah, what about that?
What do you think about it?
What do you think about it, Tacos? No, that's me. I'm supposed to do that.
I do this.
Oh.
I have these tendencies because I'm a fixer, which is toxic. I have to
Call
fix
you a bird
everything.
girl.
What?
A bird girl. Like that's how I like. That's what I call people who need to like take the little baby birds out of the nest and like, you know, dropper feed them and then like teach their little
That is
flappy
me.
wings to flap and then you know
Damn it.
you're a
But
bird girl.
I'm so much better at it now. Like I've gotten very much not my circus, not my monkeys. When normally if someone tells me their problem, I like feel like I have to like find some freaking solution for them somehow, even though it has nothing to do with me. I'm getting better and I'm inserting myself in far less things and like committing to far less things than I used to. So at least there's freaking growth there. But life is more peaceful, let me tell ya. I got a lot more time on my hands when I'm not putting out all these fires that no one asked me to put out and I inserted myself to put them out.
Yeah. Solid
So
point.
at least there's that. This was a
I don't
big
like
one
it.
for me. I have another one. This was a big one for me. I knew I matured when I realized every situation doesn't need a reaction. Sometimes you just got to leave people to do the dumb shit that they do.
I don't know how to do that.
You struggle.
I've gotten better.
I have gotten
not
better.
better at that at all.
Well,
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm nowhere near Rome.
Well, remember there was days of pickle or Cribs approved content because my mouth was just off the walls. I've grown.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I have to reel in sometimes.
It doesn't even work though because you still do it, and then you're like, nope, and I'm like, nah, fuck it, I'm still gonna do it, and then I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and you're like, of course you are.
I'm always holding out like that.
I mean,
sliver of
it's
hope.
nice
Like
that I
this
have
one
like a
time,
moment pause in there, so that's good.
I'm holding out hope. This one time you're gonna be like, you're right, and I'm gonna listen to you this time.
Dude, I always say you're right. I always
know.
say, I always am like,
Heard
you're
what I
100%
said. I'm gonna
correct.
listen to you this time.
Ooh,
Yeah,
listening is really hard.
That's the stinger.
Listening. But problem with authority.
How about this one? You won't ever see a person with good character and integrity trying to prove to anyone they are a good person. They are authentic in the way they move and they have nothing to prove. I've stepped more into this where I don't go say whatever the hell you want. Go tell a story. I don't go make receipts. I don't give a shit. Go say it again and go hear it again if you heard it. I don't care anymore. That's where I've gotten. And it's taken a lot to get to that point. And I know a lot of people struggle with it.
I've never done anything that would require anybody to do any of that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I've never.
Well, if someone's going to make some crazy accusation about you to get a rise out of you, I'm not going to entertain something that's not true to begin with. Then I'm giving it some sort of validity and truth by needing to go back and forth and defend why it's not true. So I just don't even entertain it at that point. Who's halfway where? Where are you going? I have no context of the comment. Where's she going? You are
like there is like the chat is not functioning. Like nobody's actually chat like ever. So I'm like either they're listening or everybody is like, well, just leave the YouTube open and walk away for a while.
Make them think we like them. It's fine. Fixer is a hard one to break for sure. I still feel I need to. It's the guilt thing, and I know, Pribs, you do that too, where you have guilt. You don't perform.
Never ending guilt. I should have been Catholic.
Expectations. What'd you say?
Yeah. I should have been Catholic.
I got guilt everywhere. That's how I started, and I'm here now. So
that's where we are.
I don't recommend it.
Right.
It's a very scary place.
Yeah, I think the guilt. I don't know. That's also a part of like
a lot of behaviors. Guilt and fear.
I do think I feel like nowadays the shame that people have, they then, instead of just dealing with the shame that they feel and somehow correcting that, they then double down
Uh-huh.
and go even further to then justify to themselves the shameful behavior.
Or just
So
setting
instead
the
of
bar so low that they don't have to perform any higher than that. Like the I'm an asshole, so what do you expect kind of people? Like, well, I warned you, I'm an asshole. Okay, well, that
I'm an
behavior is still
asshole.
not acceptable. You
Yeah,
can-
like
Right.
we all know you're an asshole. Very aware
All
you're an
day.
asshole. I don't know why that's not something to be
It's not a
proud of.
flex. It's not a flex.
Nope.
No.
And like growing up is
No.
realizing that that's not a flex. Yeah, agree. I saved this purely because it applies to social media. You can post suicide prevention phone numbers all you want, but if you really want to help prevent suicide, depression, and self-harm, stop being such assholes to each other online and in real life. It's really as simple as that. It's very
Very
virtue signaling.
This is where I have that lack of sympathy situation.
Yes.
Holy
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that 100%. If everybody just stopped being giant dickheads all of the time.
Right.
And for what? And for who?
I don't know.
I just don't I can't understand it. And I think that what hurts when when I'm like, ouch, is because a lot of times I genuinely feel like I was respected more and that I meant more and that I had more of an impact. And there's probably my ego coming through again, is that they are, when that sort of stuff happens, it's an ouch, because I thought there was more than that. Oh,
I'm gonna
jeez.
comment. I said be as toxic as they want to Nick in the comments that was acceptable. Ego's another thing. I mean, ego's a bitch, and we're all fighting it at all times. Everyone
So I
has
talk
an
about it
ego.
all the time.
Yeah. And it's
Yep.
frustrating.
And I think
when-
ego is the number one everything. I think it all is
Yeah.
it's everybody's ego is all the time.
most things stem from your ego. Like you're afraid of being embarrassed. Why? Because of your ego. Like you can kind of like swing everything back to like it's your ego ultimately that's like swaying these other emotions.
Mhm.
And you just have to like really work to check it. And it's about the effort. It's not about like being toxic or not toxic. Everyone's got like a form of narcissism. That's a whole spectrum. It's not like a black and white situation. There's really bad ones. I have dabbled in that. 10 out of 10 don't recommend. But there's a whole nother spectrum of it. And like we're all kind of on there. We all have tendencies, but it's a matter of like checking yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I couldn't help it. It came out.
No. Guess what I get to do now? Demure.
Oh, muted.
Oh my God, she said it.
How do I mute you? I forgot.
I hope somebody screenshots this right at this moment.
Can't even bring myself to say it.
She's turned off her screen.
I
Hold
just
on.
think she just got her hand up there.
I broke it. I don't know how to unmute her.
Oh.
What are we doing?
Oh my lord.
I like that we can be serious for about 10 minutes total.
Expecting to see your nostrils.
They're really cute. Thanks, Heather. I'm at my salon.
Heather, knock it off. Take that back.
All right, I
Heather.
have one more to read and then it's a friggin' free for all. You ready?
Yes.
All right.
A part of healing is also understanding how you were toxic. People don't want to point the finger at themselves, but you cannot grow properly and don't. Oh my God, I can't read. You can't grow properly if you don't see how your own bullshit added fuel to the fire. Not everybody likes that.
No.
It's then you have to admit fault. within yourself, and we all don't want to admit that.
Ego.
Ego.
'Cause it
And
goes
then
back
for
to
me,
ego.
that's where my faith comes in, because we have to be consistently reminded that we suck. And so it is a consistent humbling. So, you know, and this is why I have a lot of problem with what happens on social media is everybody's throwing around wearing their crosses and they're loving on Jesus. And we just can't quite admit that you suck as a human. We all do. That's kind of the point.
We do.
We just
yeah.
can't get there. And nobody is willing to admit that they suck.
To deflect and shift from that, because they can't acknowledge or admit that, they have to like funnel it to somebody else and blame them.
Somebody else is shittier. Somebody else is worse.
Yes.
Somebody else
Yeah.
did this. Where it's look at yourself for a second.
Downplay themselves. Yeah. No thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll have way more respect for someone that was shitty and was like, hey, I was a total asshole. I don't have any excuses. And I'm sorry, and you don't have to accept it. But I needed to say that. I will respect that person over the person who did it and just disappeared.
100%. And I've had this happen. And you and I have talked about this a lot, is that I've had quite a few people that would be on social media not favored that have apologized to me, and we have just, and they don't talk about me and I don't talk about them. And it has been a mutual. So my respect level for that is off the charts. You want to come, you want to have that combo, and we're done and we've separated and we are no more. I have to, in my faith, forgive and then move on.
See, I'm not, sorry, I scared my dog. I'm not big on the social media apologies, because at the end of the day, like, I've been apologized to by people and I don't even, like, they'll say they did something. I don't even remember what the hell they were talking about. And like,
100%.
clearly it's weighing on them more than me. So like, I'll acknowledge the apology, but like, I can literally just be fine and move on. I don't need another discussion. We don't need to be friends now. Like, I don't need anything. I'm set.
And there has been plenty of people, and you and I have talked about it. There's been plenty of people that have done exactly what you have said to me, and we keep going. And I don't. We're good.
Well, and I don't know.
But I have to. I have to, because I can't face my God at the end and say that the one that they gave you was sincere and you wouldn't take it. So
I know that I can't
make
grow there. In that department, I could probably stand to grow. But I have also reopened doors and like needed to like slam them back shut and nail them shut. So like, it's hard for me per se, but it really irks me when people use somebody else as a vehicle to reach me. So if you can't reach me and you have to literally like do somersaults and then like jump through a portal and like go find somebody that talks to me, like, don't, because that's just gonna piss me off. Like, if I wanted to have an avenue open, you would have an easy way to message me. That's why my DMs are always off. I don't want to talk to anybody. Don't DM me. And if I talk to you off the app, you know how to do that. And that's just the way it is.
Yep. If people can't, and this is the beginning of this whole podcast comes back, is I want to see the good in everybody. I genuinely want people, and I will every single time. And because I've gotten burned over and over again, that I will still leave that door open, hoping that there's change.
This is so true. She says, an apology without change behavior is manipulation. So my big thing is like, I could honestly give two shits about your verbal apology. I would much rather you just change the behavior. So like, you could have done something to me and you don't need to apologize. Just don't go do that to somebody else ever again. You know what I mean? That's like, my accountability is not doing the same things I used to do, not falling into the same patterns I used to fall into, and do better things with that time. I don't believe most people when they just verbally say they're sorry. I wait for the behavior, because a lot of times the behavior doesn't match the apology.
I think that also goes back to how our lives have been formed up until this point, and how everybody has a different path and how they've gotten there. I feel like I have been in a wonderful position that I've never really had to deal with people who said they're sorry and didn't change behavior. Like I'm very lucky that way, that when people say they're sorry, they mean it and things change. Like that's, so then I, like a toddler, just assume that's how it's going to be everywhere
world.
because I've been
Right.
fortunate enough to not have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. We have,
I
I
don't
really
have
am like
any
an emotional
apologies.
toddler.
me and Tacos have very opposite experience, right? You two? Like apologies without
Me and
change.
Brett. Yeah, I've never really gotten any apologies because it was always my fault. So
So there's that too. There's just the flat out deflection and no apology.
yeah,
This is consistent with a lot of people. A lot of people
yeah,
aren't consistent. You know, people that say they're taking a break and then they don't take a break. The people that, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna start doing this, and then maybe they do it twice and they don't. I mean, I think that's a lot of human nature. And I think in relationships, and whether it be friendship or romantic or whatever, I think it's important to try to at least acknowledge that when you're not being consistent and try to work towards being consistent. Otherwise, you have no credibility either.
yeah. Change is hard for people, though. I think,
Oh, absolutely.
especially if you've lived your life that way and then trying to change it. Because I find that all the time. Like my self-talk and stuff, it's like I've come a long way, but I still find, when I have a bad day, it just slips right in, and then a week goes by. I'm like,
we
I gotta
naturally,
refocus.
I think we naturally reject being uncomfortable as humans, and change makes you uncomfortable, makes you very uncomfortable depending on what changes you're making.
Absolutely.
It's a mind over matter situation, really.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
that's
the
why,
mind.
like you said, when people come into your life for a season, if they're not helping you to move forward, then and they're keeping that consistent behavior
Yep.
going, you've got to cut those ties and
When I
find people
I
that
get
ask
that.
questions.
I just don't waste time anymore. Like it's not just like friends. It's family members too. Like
Absolutely.
I grew up having to tolerate everything. It didn't matter what the behavior was. You had to tolerate it from that person, and that's just the way it was. And I did a whole 180, and I'm like the exact opposite, where I won't tolerate it at all because it's detrimental. And I watched it affect my daughter with my mom. You know, she was starting to bog her down and like rag on her a lot, negative, negative, negative. And I was taught to just like grin and bear that. I'm not letting that happen with me. And that's my personal choice. But
Yeah.
because of how I felt growing up, I don't want her to feel that way. That and a million other reasons why we don't talk.
Yeah.
This is true too. That's all the littlest steps. And you have to acknowledge all the little steps because they matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you just sit here right now and like realize like how much further you really have to go? Like there are times when I sit and I'm like pretty self-actualized, Ginge. You're kind of out there doing the stuff and the things like pretty self-actualized. And then tonight I'm like, wah, wah.
You mean how far you have
So
to go in
far to go. What did
In
you
life?
say?
I said how far to go in life?
No, I think that just in within yourself, I think everybody tries to get to the point of self-actualization where you are feeling that you are complete as a human and that you're doing pretty well, generally speaking. But then it's like, every now and then, it's again ego, where I'm like, yeah, I'm killing it. And then tonight I'm like, no, not at all.
My webcam won't work.
I don't want to talk about it.
You're like, hey guys, I got this new webcam.
Even my
and
webcam won't support me.
It's okay. I bought a mic when we did After Talk, and I used it once. it was more trouble than it was worth, and it was just really cool looking. That was about it.
I just don't. I'm gonna have to have my kid come up here and look at it because she'll figure it out.
Me too, Heather. I'm like a ghost. I'll be like, bitch, bye. And then I'm gone.
That's really, really hard for me to do. And when I
I
do,
know.
it's really hard for me to do.
I just let Ginger awkwardly linger by herself for a little while, and then eventually she'll be like,
And I do.
"Oh, okay, bye." And then she leaves too.
Takes me a really long time.
I let my
I
friends
hold
all-
on far longer than I should.
I used to be that way too, but
If I think it's workable, fixable, or can have a conversation, I will
Yeah.
do it. I would 100% do it. But if I know, and if my heart's not in it, why am I going to try? That's not genuine. That's fake.
mhm.
You either get, if you really want that, you can have a
I know,
fake
but-
version.
But like for me, my heart always has to be in it. I
I know.
I have to.
Mine is not, is what I'm saying.
I know.
once
I'm
my-
just saying
once my heart
I
leaves
can't
it-
relate to because I have to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's why I have to leave you out
I think it
there.
depends who it is for me.
Yeah, it
it
absolutely
again?
I'm like middle of the road. I said I think it depends what the relationship is to me. Like some I can easily walk away from it and leave it. Others, not so much. But I get overthinking it. What can I have changed?
know.
What can I
I don't
do?
get over that stuff.
Then they apologize, like say they give that apology, but then it doesn't change. And
Yeah, that's why I'm.
And then
you
you-
get stuck in that cycle.
I've encountered far too many false apology people, so like I'm a little harder to get back in with. And I'll give a second chance. I'll let people back if I've been wronged or I feel like I've been wronged by somebody, but it is very circumstantial, and it's not very often. I'm just being honest.
I'm seriously, I'm like a freaking toddler. Just never it's never been like this for me. And it's very bizarre that it takes
Well-
social media for me to like realize how shitty people are. Like that's so bizarre.
I mean, you have to think about it though. You've lived in like one demographic your whole life.
Not really. I mean, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Chicago, I've lived around, but I mean,
I feel
It's
like people
not-
are dickier now though than ever. Even in real life.
Yeah, I think so.
People are crabbier. You go to the grocery store, people aren't as nice. People are less patient. So maybe that's why.
I don't know.
I don't know.
People are weird.
When people,
People find it easier behind a screen to be shitty too.
that's a big component. And then society as a whole is just trying to lower the bar to make mediocrity across the board acceptable for everything.
Yeah.
Like that's the level of achievement that we're good with now. It's just fucking mediocrity for everyone.
Yep. We don't have to expect anything from
Absolutely.
anybody because you guys are all very special little starfish and you all deserve the ocean. And it's like,
It's like-
nobody's trying.
Well, it's like
Right. You want to play football? You can play football. Who cares if they'll squish you on the field?
right. Like it's just that there's no bar that's appropriate anymore. It's just we keep lowering it to make everyone's feel good, you know?
Because we want, yes, because as long as it makes you feel good, then that's great. If you
And it's like-
feel good,
It's dumbing everyone down as a whole and making people like less productive as citizens.
Yeah.
Like people can't function without their freaking smartphones and shit now. Like God forbid I don't send out auto reminders for appointments. My clients won't come. And it's like at the end of the day, like that's a courtesy, dude. Like you should know I didn't hold a gun to your back and book the appointment. You booked it. Have some accountability.
Right.
Throw it on your personal calendar. Show that you give a shit and show up.
Yeah.
We're at the end, guys. That's it. Thanks for coming. And I don't know. Maybe you learned
yeah,
something.
that feels jarring. Okay.
All right, bye.
I'm not doing the outro. I'm not doing it. It's just us saying goodbye because that thing was weird.
No, because then how will we awkwardly sort of be here but not be here?
Can
they
you
can
do
still
that?
see
Like
us.
bob and weave so that like trying to just see you. I don't know how I did that, so I'm like scared to do it again because then it would be all weird like it was last time. Oh, I deleted it too. I got rid of it, so we can't even do it. So that's it. Okay, we're done.
All right.
Oh,
Peace be with
sorry.
you.
Well, we'll see you guys the last Sunday. We're gonna make sure we're on agreement here. Last Sunday
Last Sunday.
of September, whatever date that is. I haven't looked yet, but I'll triple first
29th.
check.
The 29th.
29th?
29th.
29th.
Okay.
8
When my
p.m.
business is closing.
See you there. Bye.
Finger guns. Demure.
Stop. I can't end it.